Revolutionary greetings, comrades. We continue with our discussion on the rigging of elections in Zimbabwe. In the previous video that we recorded, we said rigging does not happen on election day, that is to say, at the polling station, because parties will have sent their election agents, and we explained the process that happens when the voter gets into the polling station until they leave after casting their votes, and the counting of the votes with the final result from that polling station posted outside the polling station. And we argued that it is therefore not possible to rig. But what we want to look into in this video is the infiltration to the opposition by the Zimbabwean state agents. One thing that the ZANU-PF-led government has done excellently well, to use this word excellent, is the intelligence gathering that they've organized since independence in 1980. All opposition parties, one way or the other, are infiltrated. Now, what happens therefore is that election rigging can only happen at a polling station. Remember, in the previous video we said rigging does not happen in a polling station because party agents will be present throughout the whole process. And this is to assume that these are genuine polling agents of a particular party. But if you then have recruited polling agents, for instance, if the Zimbabwe Communist Party is infiltrated at a grassroots level, you then deploy the infiltrators to be your polling agents. That's how you then lose an election. Because in the main, opposition parties in Zimbabwe do not have the mechanism of doing a security background check on any person that joins them. I remember in the MDC, we will simply distribute membership cards for free without people paying membership. So any person simply joins the party, and this person, because it's at grassroots level, is likely to be a polling agent in the upcoming general elections or harmonized elections. So if the party agents are infiltrators, you then deploy them in the polling station, then it's game off. Because you are basically having ZANU-PF party agents mass squandering as the opposition party agents. So what the opposition needs to do, which of course is limited in terms of capacity, to do a security background check on every person that is a polling agent or is deployed to be a polling agent. For instance, in Umzingwane constituency in 2013, where I was an MP candidate, we had 78 polling stations. In one constituency, 78 polling stations. And we needed to have three in each of the 78 polling stations. So you can calculate 78 by 8. I know you did arithmetics. Now, in one polling station in Sejube Business Center, if you are familiar, you are driving from Bulawayo, past Mbalabala, the next shopping center, after you've passed in Swazi secondary, on Swazi school, it's a Sejube before you get to Gwanda. So in that polling station in Sejube, in 2013, we had deployed our 3 polling agents in the polling station. I went there on election day to check on our polling agents. I found one of our members. He was in the structures of our party. I found him at Sejube polling station as a polling agent. And I confronted him. I said, but we did not deploy you to be a polling agent. What are you doing in a polling station? Then says, no, I was asked by this other party to be their polling agent. Can you imagine? So that means people belong to different political parties, particularly in rural areas. There would be members of ZAPU, there would be members of Triple C, there would be members of ZANU-PF, there would be members of MRPs to some extent. You then deploy them as a pooling agent, but because we have no capacity to do a security background check on the loyalty of this individual that we deploy as a pooling agent, you then deploy an infiltrator to be your pooling agent. If that then happens, it's game over. Because this guy infiltrated his way, or this lady her way, into the part to an extent that is trusted to be a pooling agent. Then he represents the part in the polling stations. He then signs and says, no, everything posted outside the polling station, it's okay. It reflects the voting which was done in this polling station. And because you trust your polling agent, and this polling agent is a state agent, you then agree with the polling agent. So, because we have no mechanism to do a security check, background check, we have no mechanism to monitor our members, who they talk to, who they communicate with in their cell phones, who they are meeting. The opposition does not have such mechanism in place to track. I remember we always talk about Indian shops. You know what the Indians do, business people. So, some Indians, not every Indian, but in some Indian shops we call them Mama Kula. The talk is that we work in a shop or a factory, we are 5 in a shop, a warehouse. Our boss will say, Mabena, I trust in you. Every week or every month, I give you an extra 200 rand on top of your salary. Please monitor these other 4 that they don't steal. But don't tell anyone that I'm giving you 200 rand, because they are going to complain. I then think that my boss loves me, but my boss repeats this to all the 5 of us. So all the 5 of us were now monitoring each other, that no one is stealing from the boss. I think the boss loves me, he gives me an extra 200 rand. And you think the boss loves you more than me, gives you an extra 200 rand. And all of us, we monitor each other on the understanding that each one of us are favorites to the boss. This is not what we do in the opposition. We do not monitor who in the last 6 months this cadre that we're deploying as a polling agent has been speaking to. Who does he interact with? What we only do is to send this person as a polling agent. But this person is a state agent. Then rigging happens. So when in the first video we said, rigging does not happen at a polling station, we were saying, and we still maintain, that it does not happen if there is a genuine party member who is a polling agent in a polling station. It does not happen. But if the party does not have a security mechanism to check every member that is deployed as a polling agent, their loyalty or their state agent, then indeed rigging is going to happen, and you will not be able to prove it. This is why in 2018, the MTC Alliance struggled to produce evidence in court, because their polling agents will have signed that this is the information, this information is correct, these are the results obtained in this polling station. They have signed, right? ZANU-PF, which we'll discuss in the next video. In the next video, There are videos that are circulating from Insiza district where there was a by-election in the last few days, where these videos are still circulating, where there is a tape in the bush, and the ZANU-PF officials are ticking every person before they go and cast their votes. They pass through that tape in the bush and then proceed to the polling station. We will be discussing that in the next video. But as I conclude on this one, the failure to do a security background check on every polling agent results in a rigged election which cannot be proved in a court of law, because the party polling agent will have signed that the results are correct. So the infiltration will not in the main be in the higher structure in the National Executive or Central Committee for the case of the Zimbabwe Communist Party, but the infiltration will be at the grassroots, because they know that it is those at the grassroots level that will be deployed in polling stations as party agents. They recruit those or they deploy at that level, so that at the polling station where I vote in at Mbizingwe Primary School, as I said in the previous video, I will find our party agent and I will be happy, unbeknown to me, that this cadre whom we say is our party member, we have deployed him or her into a polling station, is indeed a state agent who has infiltrated us. And whatever this person tells us about the procedure in voting in that polling station, we are going to believe this polling agent, because he's our member, and will accept that we lost, even if we know that we have more members in around that polling station who should have voted for us, but because we do not have evidence that they voted for us but were cheated in that polling station, because our party agent will have connived with the state to rig elections. Please share your views in the comment section, circulate this video, and please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Otherwise, Amandla Comrades.